Manchester United won. Manchester City won at full time. City win the Community Shield and beat United on penalties. But there's a lot to unpack in this game. Now, I'm not going to suddenly play this down as just being a friendly, because I think there's some importance for Man United and Manchester City to take out of this game. Were City the deserved winners? On penalties, absolutely. They took the better penalties than Man United did. Johnny Evans' was awful. Sancho, I really felt for him. He missed at that end in the Euros final when he missed it there again. So they deserve to win on penalty shootouts. In terms of the game itself, we're going to get into that in more detail throughout the course of this stream. We really, really are. But first of all, hit like buttons. Make sure you're subscribing. Make sure you I've turned the bell notification buttons on as well, and join our notification group chat. You can scan that QR code. It is on the screen now. Please make sure that you are doing that. But I'm going to start with Manchester City to begin with, because they were the victors today. And it was an interesting starting lineup from Pep Guardiola, because Manchester City got stronger as the game went on, bringing on Bernardo Silva, bringing on Núñez, Salvinho, KDB. But some of the youngsters, Oscar Bobb looks an absolute star. I think Oscar Bobb is going to have a brilliant career ahead of him if Manchester City give him game time. I thought O'Reilly and McAtee had good, solid games as well. Maybe not starting games together at Premier League level, but certainly being introduced. I think if they're bled in properly, there's quality in there, there's no doubt. It was a slow start from Man United, but a lot of that was the pressure and the shape and the persistence in the press from Manchester City early on. And they made it very, very difficult indeed for Manchester United to be able to get out and play. And they made us very nervous. We were trying to play out from the back, but they were making it hard for us. They were cutting off all our avenues. And I watched that first 20 minutes and thought, well, I'm not surprised by City. Even with Grealish, KDB, Walker, Rodri missing, this is a well-oiled machine, that it's the best team in the world, that has been at the peak of its powers for ages. So even the academy players, they are well-drilled, well-versed, and understand how this team operates. And I was worried. And I just looked at the City team, and a lot of people have them as their favourites. I still think they've got to add a bit more firepower. If Arsenal were to sign an Osimhen or a Goretzka, maybe Liverpool are going to add a little bit more after they complete the deal for Zubimendi. But this City team are going to be there or thereabouts, if not the winners of the Premier League. They're one of the favourites for the Champions League and all the cup competitions. And they're an excellent side. They've got some great youngsters. As I've already said, Oscar Bobb looks like a star for the future. And his creativity for that goal, that turn, that quality of cross was out of this world. And I also thought Salvinho as well came on. There was a few moments where he had a loose touch and he was a little bit off the pace. But some of his crossing, some of the balls that he played, I was personally really impressed with. So City looked good today. There's no doubt about it whatsoever. When it comes to Man United, look, the first 20 minutes I've mentioned, I was worried in the first 20 minutes. But, well, I know we haven't got any of our new players on the pitch. I understand there's still a number of individuals in that starting lineup that either this summer or eventually we want to see gone. But the first 20 minutes, I sat there and thought, shape's good. I haven't laid a glove. We're not attacking their fullbacks. We have no control in the middle. They've got 65, 70% of the ball. We're in a bit of trouble in terms of the game. And then you're going to see the negativity pile on from people online. And you could see we were struggling to play out. And a big part of that was City. City are the best pressers in the world, in my humble opinion. But as the game went on, we grew and we grew and we grew. And a lot of Man United fans called me out last year. I understand why. It's the name of the game. It's why we're here. Our footballing opinions are here to be shot down. Why are you not happy, Terry? We've got injuries. We've got players to come back. Why are you not excited about that? Because our overarching performance, our shape, and our system, I did not believe could improve. And not until the Arsenal game at the end of last campaign did I see improvements begin to manifest themselves. But what I saw today, we can grow from. What I saw today can be built upon. There was some sloppy passes, by the way, from both teams at times. So I'm not going to single Man United out and say it was just us. But Casemiro's legs didn't look anywhere near as bad as last season. Why? Because our shape out of possession doesn't hang him out to dry. He had a few dodgy passes that put us in trouble, but also some great moments defensively and in terms of moving the ball. We were hard to break down, barring when Oscar Bobb or Doku took somebody on. And your shape makes that, when you've got a good shape, if someone's good at dribbling past you, there's not much your shape can do about that, barring covering players. And we did have covering players because we afforded Manchester City very few chances. And what stood out to me in that game was 9 shots conceded in the whole match. Now, I take it in that this isn't City's number one team. City are going to get better. But we were conceding more attempts on goal last season than the relegated teams. We were being opened up every 5 minutes. We can grow from that. Some of our approach play in the first half, I mean, the wonderful move where the ball's played through from Casemiro for Ahmad. In real time, I think I said he should have shot. I think I tweeted it. When I watched it back, I changed my mind. I think he played the right ball. He just overhit it. It was another great bit of play. A few minutes later, Bruno, Ahmad, the ball was then squared to, played out wide, to Rashford. His shooting was off. Could have done better. Great play. There were some wonderful attacks in the second half. Some of it on the counter, which is fine. And some of it for approach play. Overall, I was happy with how we grew into the game. The goal that we scored was top class. The play, the build up to the goal, the finish from Garnacho. And what I noticed as a Man United fan, and everybody did this today, there were times where I was going, Garnacho, please don't run down the channel into a blind alley with nobody in the box. And he didn't. Rashford didn't. Decision-making today, I felt as a team was better. And as our confidence grew, we grew. We scored. I would have loved to have won the game today, but of course, you're up against Man City. I've already praised their goal. Their goal was every bit as good as Manchester United. The approach play, the turn from Oscar Bobb was amazing. And the header. You know, Palestri went asleep at the back post. But as a Man United, City fans already know what's coming this season. And I'm not downplaying anything they've done. They're amazing. They're one of the favourites to win a quad again this year. Generally, they could win everything again. They're that good. But as a Man United fan, I hate losing. But when we lose and there is something to be positive about in terms of performance, especially with where we are as a club today on the 10th of August, 2024, we can go again. We've got Euro to come back into this team. We've gone and bought De Ligt. We've got Mazwari. Xerxes didn't come on. Maybe he's not fully fit. We'll see what happens. We've got Shaw to come back into this side. Ugarte potentially to add. The likes of Mainu and Bruno to actually get fully fit. Garnacho to get fully fit. If we can grow, and by the way, we're not going to play teams. And by the way, this City team that started today would still beat most Premier League sides. Granted, I don't think we'd have been this good today if it was their full strength team fully fit. I agree. But there's something for us to grow from here. So I was really impressed with large parts of our game. There's lots of improvement to go, but I believe there is the green shoots of progress. I can see light at the end of the tunnel. To go up against City and only miss out, they only had 5% more possession than us. They had 9 shots. We had 8 shots on goal. We actually had the bigger chances. I believe also, we may have also had more shots on target. I have to go back and check. So overall, look, I am gutted to lose. I want to say congratulations to Man City. A lot of rival fans in the comment section saying, hold that. That's not how I feel. I look at this and go, I'm excited for the Fulham game. And do you know what? This may mean nothing to rival fans. And their predictions that how I feel today could be short-lived could come true. But you know, last season, I rarely looked forward to a game because I was scared about how we're going to play. I watched today and thought, if we keep developing, if we keep training, we add our new players, we sign a few more, we get fully fit, we could have a very good season. We could get ourselves back into Champions League contention. We could win some trophies and we could set a benchmark, create a foundation to grow from. So I want to say well done for the overarching performance today to United's players, especially Bruno Fernandes. Played 90 minutes, no preseason, set up a goal, scored a banger that was just about offside. But look, of course, overall, if I was going to give a man of the match out today, I'm going to go with the winning team. I'd give it to Oscar Bobb. I thought it was great. I thought City, we know what they're all about. We know how good they're going to be. No matter even if there's little sloppy moments, they're going to get better and better as the season goes on. The only thing I will ask City fans, will the Community Shield curse strike again? I've been told that the team that wins it normally doesn't win the league in recent years. I don't know if that's true. I'm only going by your comments. I'm going to go to the Super Chats now. First one says, community shield curse. I believe you, is what Abraham says here. Yes, we lost, but I saw enough out of United's performance to encourage me for the upcoming season once the signings have been added into this team. I agree. Terry, don't feel bad for Sancho. He spent about 3 months playing FIFA instead of playing for you. He disrespected your football club. Listen, yes, I understand that, but Man United were a mess. Man United had no leaders. Man United were rudderless. And in those environments, all types of behavior happen. So Jadon Sancho, for me, gets a clean slate along with everybody else. I'm gutted that he missed the penalty today. I'm actually gutted he didn't come on a little bit earlier. I wanted to see him play, but I'm not throwing Sancho under the bus. I'm not throwing Johnny Evans under the bus. Not with the season ahead of us. There is zero mileage in anger regarding that. Glad with the performance. Feel like we deserve to win the game. Amad and Garnacho should be the starting wingers. The mad bit is they both look good today on the right-hand side. But yes, listen, I actually thought Rashford didn't have a bad performance. It was just his finishing. He had 2 chances and he probably should have scored them. Whether he comes good again this year on goals will remain to be seen. But the chances are there. And creating the chances is key. But yeah, Garnacho and Amad, excellent days today. Can't wait for rivals to treat this trophy like a Champions League. I'm going to keep it 100. And that's also, everyone's saying, hold that. If we'd have won it, they'd have just said it's a friendly. So United fans, don't be drawn out. Ignore it. Don't have small dick mentality on this, please. And be drawn out by terrible banter. Remember when Sancho did all that crap last season towards the club? Karma, let's keep him because of tech. Well, I don't want to keep him because of tech. I want to keep him if he can make us a better football team. Because Man United being better is more important than any personal vendettas, personal feelings, or subjectivity that any of us think or feel, in my humble opinion. Considering a lot of the players were rusty, we have new players coming in. I'm happy with the 90 minutes. Looks like we are building something special. Do you know what, Fairs? As long as we improve from this, as long as there's no resting on our laurels, absolutely. We can grow from this, but I want to see more of it. I wasn't impressed with Rashford after last season. I thought his overall play was good. Just didn't take his chances today. But overall, I thought it was okay. Guardiola was terrible. Could not defend Garnacho or Amad. I wouldn't say he was terrible. I think they played really well. The duel I really loved today was Doku versus Delo, because there was moments where Doku was cooking. There was moments where Delo was good. And considering we've lost a really good one-on-one defender, I was really happy with that. That was totally different football to last year. I'm buzzing for the new season. And I agree. Now, I'm not getting carried away and ignoring, and I'm not going to take my foot off the neck of this club. But that's a vast improvement. The first 20 minutes felt like last season. And then we grew and we grew and we grew. And look, we play at home against Fulham on Friday. You know, a week of training. Get some of them new signings in. You know, get that juices flying around that dressing room. And we could be a little dangerous next year. We could be a little dangerous. Harold here says, after 25 minutes, Man United with a better team. Performance matters more. How we defend and variation on attack are big improvements from last season. Completely agree. And do you know what I would say about this to extend that point slightly further? If we would have played for the 90 minutes how we did for the first 20 and then nicked a dodgy penalty and won it, I'd be less encouraged about the season ahead. I'd be less excited about the season ahead. The performance, and I'm consistent when I say this, there'll be trolls that say, no, you're not. I always talk about it. Underlying the performance is really where the encouragement comes from. I was a United fan when we were awful in the late 80s and early 90s in terms of league. And then I saw us have the best period of any English team in English football history. And we lost games in that period and played poorly. But I always knew the performances were there. There was always something to be encouraged about. Today, fingers crossed, God willing, marks the start of that. But it's a long and winding road. Still a 3 or 4 year journey. Don't get carried away, people. Keep your feet firmly on that ground. Of all the players, Onana tried that on Haaland. Yeah, look, and that's where I would say to people, I don't think Onana would be doing that if it was an FA Cup final, Champions League final, massive Premier League game. Not that you have a penalty shootout in a Premier League game. You get my point. That's why the performance is key. How is Anthony fitting into this team? I don't care. It's just not, for me, bro, that's not even a talking point today. He's nowhere near it right now. Nowhere near it. Panel time now, people. First proper match reaction of the season. We've got Strasbourg Steve. What the hell's a Liverpool fan Sayer doing here? What's he doing? I thought I had to say his name properly. Sia, that's it. Got Judge Mo looking handsome. We've got man like Canadian Cam looking happy, drunk. I don't know. KJ's there. Oh, he's got the shirt on. He's got the shirt on. Listen, everybody, hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. Make sure you're subscribing to the Football Terrace. Panel time now. KJ's here. We've got Cam, we've got Mo, we've got Steve, we've got Sia. Welcome back, gents. First match reaction of the new campaign. I hope you're all well. KJ, Man United today didn't come out on top, but what did you make of it?
Considering that this is our first proper-ish game, you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty pleased with what I saw. We looked more of a team. And that was the main thing that we saw last season that we didn't have, is that we didn't look like a team. We was conceding shots left, right, and center. And today, defensively, there were sketchy moments, especially in the first 25 minutes. But we galvanized, we grew into the game, and we got better and better as the game got on. And that shows that a team that wants to play for each other, the team that's together, and moving forward, a team that would hopefully win more football matches. I can't really complain about that. The players today did the best that they could, and we got a result. We got a draw in the end, and
in the game,
and losing on pens, you can't really be too mad at that. I'm looking for Sancho and Evans to be ones missing. The two people that you probably think who would probably miss out of the squad, it'll be Sancho and Evans. And
wasn't a United fan who thought Sancho was scoring that penalty.
Yeah. As soon as I saw Evans walk up, I knew he was done in it.
I didn't want him to, but as soon as I saw him, I was like, oh no, because of the story, because of the online stuff. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, what did you make the biggest problem we had last year outside of converting chances was our midfield being run through? We know we're probably going to sign Ugarte, maybe somebody else. What did you make of the midfield setup for Man United today? Do you see differences compared to last season?
Yeah, we are a bit more compact. There are still moments where we were getting run through, but I think that was after a sequence of both teams losing the ball through trying to play forward passes. So obviously at some point there'd be massive holes. But as a whole, we're getting better in the midfield. We definitely need more legs in there. Casemiro played well, but he can't do that for the entire season anymore. That's just not him anymore, So we need some midfield reinforcements. But overall, the midfield is more compact. They're keeping the ball slightly better, and they're making Bruno's job easier. I think one of the reasons why, obviously, Bruno last season had a very iffy season was because he was doing so much. He had to come and drop deep, play the ball, and run forward and defend. So he had to do so much last season that he lost a bit of his game. Today's game, the midfield was just solid. They was able to get Bruno in advanced positions to do what he can do well, which was create chances and potentially score goals. Obviously, he had a great goal, short off offside, and he played some good balls today, which is what we want him to do. So overall, some midfield signings in there, and you can start to see what Man United can do with that midfield, especially with Bruno closest to the strikers.
I hear that. From an outsider's perspective, Mo, you're very scathing, and rightly so, last season of Manchester United. Did you see any differences in the play today from United fans to be encouraged about?
No, I didn't. You kept the ball at the back, which is fine, but it was empty position. But the chances were created by diagonal ball, by individual brilliance from Bruno Fernandes, which is, he can do that. We know that Bruno Fernandes can pick the ball and pick the right pass. I still think that I can't judge Manchester United until Lisandro Martinez plays in the center back and Johnny Evans and Harry Maguire are the team. They tried to pass from the back. They barely got it to Kobe Mainoo and Casemiro in good positions. Many times, Manchester United at the back, they were trying to play that position-based football, get Kobe Mainoo comfortably on the ball. Manchester City were aware of it. But this is Manchester City and Pep Guardiola. I can't judge this game and say that Manchester United, they look different. A little bit of what KJ said. Yeah, compact defensively, the lines were closer. But at the end, it is still creating the chances from the big diagonal balls to Amad Diallo, like the long balls to Marcus Rashford. That's what I thought, to be honest. But I have to give it to Casemiro today. About like 5 tackles, 3 of them inside the 18, about 6 interceptions and dispossessing the opposition. Looks like he looks fit, thinner, more fit, can run more. I have to give it to him. He looks way, way more fit than the start of last season. Of course, we cannot say that Kobe Mino is fit and Bruno Fernandes, but I'm looking at this team and I still want to see Manchester United with the starting 11 with a proper left back. Johnny Evans, Harry Maguire, they can pass the ball all day to Onana, right? But he's not getting anywhere. Manchester City kept Manchester United having the ball at the back until it gets to the midfield, but it's trapped because the 2 center backs of Manchester United cannot play the ball from the back, which is a big part of how you played in the first season when Lisandro Martinez was a key factor in that central midfield. That's my point.
Question, to challenge you on your point that all our attacks came from just long balls and
disagree
switches.
with that.
What happened about those 2 opportunities we created from interplay?
They aren't long ball. Okay, KJ, they aren't long. I said there is a difference between a long looping ball and actually a diagonal ball to a winger. You literally played that.
But I'm not diagonal balls. I'm talking about the interplay at the edge of the box. We did it twice with Ahmad trying to square it to Mount and then Rashford getting a shot off and he missed. What about those things? We weren't seeing that last season.
It was. I think that chance was still a ball that was played directly, not through the midfield to Amad Diallo.
No,
that ball was still played
the ball through. It was Casemiro played it through to Ahmad.
What I would say, Mo, is this though. I've got no issue. Look, this is where I agree and I disagree with you. What you've said about you can't judge the team until we've got our proper defense and how we play from the back. I agree with that. But the difference was today is we have bemoaned Man United for not trying to play a style of football because we didn't have the personnel. Where today they were trying to do it. And as much as I got frustrated, well, listen, I have got no hate.
Johnny Evans.
Annoyance. But this is my point. This season, when everyone's back, he's our 5th choice centre back. I have no frustration with him struggling to do in his late 30s what the modern day defender has been trained to do. What I was encouraged by is that we tried to do it. I've got no issue with us going long every now and then because Man City do that. And we saw it in. So everybody does that. Where I disagree with your point is you created because of Bruno's individual brilliance. Well, if we would have had the individual brilliance in central midfield today of Yoro and Lisandro Martinez, then we would have played out from the back better. This is where I believe the phrase of individual brilliance, it was used as an attack against Man United when Bruno first came to the club, but you need it because without the individual brilliance of Haaland's finishing, without the individual brilliance of Ederson's feet, without the individual brilliance of Rodri's control of the game, without the individual brilliance of KDB's creativity, City wouldn't be who City are. Their system would still be great, but it would fall short if you took those players out and put Scott McTominay, Johnny Evans, David De Gea, and I don't know, a crocked Martial in their team. They would still probably play nice football, but it would fall short. So I get where you're coming from. And this is what I said earlier. We are nowhere near the finished article. I'm encouraged by things I saw today, but that's it. It's a case of much more needed. Get out in the transfer window, buy more players. But I felt improvements. Like, how did you see it, Cam, from a United's perspective?
Yeah, so for me, I got a lot to I think there's a lot to talk about today, which is nice. Normally there hasn't been. Normally you come out of a United game and you're like, same old shit, man. Like, I think I completely hear Mo saying when it comes to trying to play out from the back, but I do think we created a lot more today than we have probably in like the last 4 games outside the FA Cup game that we played. We played football today. That's something that it looked nice. Like there's a term used in hockey in Canada. I like doing this to rile up the fans here in the chat. It's called a line change. When we did a line change, when we brought on
change it up. I watched Mighty Ducks.
No, but 4 players came on, 4 players went off, and we looked the same. That's never been a thing. Like we actually looked like we were still playing the same style of football, which was really nice to see. Mount didn't look out of place, which is important for me. I mean, I'm not saying he was amazing, but he didn't look out of place. Last year, he didn't look like he deserved to be on the pitch. He didn't look like.
What is his role? Can you tell me what is his role, Cam? Please.
Well, today his role was he was just pressing high and just trying to recycle the ball and just making. Like he wasn't. I get it. He wasn't doing anything crazy, but he didn't look out of.
Bro, I kept trying, bro. I kept trying.
Who? Scott McTominay.
Mason Mount. Cam described him really well. He's running around trying to press and recycle.
But
That was it.
I agree, but that's why it's about taking the positives, but knowing this is a long and winding road.
Yeah. Listen,
It could be, yeah.
I started that with saying he didn't look out of place. I'd not say he looked.
Yeah.
Let's be clear.
He didn't look awful.
He didn't look terrible. So that's just a depth piece, right? What I really love to see from us was I think there was a clear direction on being direct. A lot of the times when we won the ball, we let City play with the ball a lot in the first half. And I'm okay with that. If you're going to just not really do anything and pass around, I'm fine with that. They didn't create much in the first 20 minutes. And then every time we got on the ball, it seemed like we turned and tried to be very direct, which I know some people talk about that football and don't like it, but I like that football. When you look up and you look for the runners. When we got the ball to Ahmad, when we got the ball to Garnacho, and for God's sakes, United fans, let's not start Garnacho versus Ahmad. I don't want that because I can feel it. It's going to happen. But we now look like our wingers look good. People are coming down on Rashford, as they should, for missing the chances. But Rashford today made a bunch of great runs. He made the right decisions. At the end of the day, he got missed on two very big runs. There's one run where Bruno normally would have seen him. It was an overlap, and he went to Scott instead of Rashford. Rashford would have been clear through. Now, I can't say he would have scored because he was clear through on Garnacho's and missed. But he also missed him early on a play where I was shocked he missed him again. It was Rashford going out wide, and Bruno shot. And normally Bruno always finds Rashford. So Rashford today, at the end of the day, the problem we've always had with him was not making the right decisions, making the wrong runs, looking like he just wants to get on the ball and run with his head down. He didn't do that today. So it looks like there's some coaching there. So that's where my positives are coming from, seeing us play the same way when we had multiple players come in and out. We clearly were trying to play from the back, even though it looked terrible with Evans and, whatnot. I think I said this to Staffy the other day about Ugarte and Casemiro. Ugarte, for me, at this stage, is a better version. He's a younger, he's a stronger, faster version of Casemiro. He's not going to have Casemiro's class because Casemiro's Casemiro. He's not who he is, but it's still, you know what I'm trying to say. But you bring in Ugarte, and now you have a player who can be the rock of your midfield if we can bring him in. He can really sit there and do what Cass did today. I don't expect Cass to do what he did today. Maybe not in the Fulham game, but we need that. So for me, the positives are we didn't get ran off the pitch. We looked like we were playing football. We didn't allow Haaland to score a hat trick, even though it was a friendly game, as some of the Chelsea fans like to talk about. Oh, just a Chelsea. And I said this coming into the season. For me, huge success will be is Onana getting peppered, and he didn't. He didn't get peppered. He didn't take 15, 20 shots today. He took 7, 8, 9 shots, and that's like
do you know what, Cam? The greatest thing you've said that I didn't even think about it. When we made the subs, I sat here with about 65 minutes.
Yeah,
and I sort of just said out loud, do you know what? Whatever happens now, I'm reviewing the first 65 minutes because when I saw Scott, and then in fairness as well, for the first 2 minutes after the substitution, Bruno was on the left, Rashford was in the middle, and I'm like, what the hell has he done to the shape? But once we settled. You are right. You could actually argue we got stronger. And I think that was fresh legs as an example. And it was, do you know what's really crazy today? And maybe we're Man United fans, so we really analyze it when our team plays. But I just felt like we kept things more basic today. And basic is best sometimes. It didn't feel overcomplicated. We did make mistakes, and no one's going to sit here and say we didn't. But the best players in the world make mistakes. We should all do a watch along one day when we're watching the best team in the world and have like a foghorn that goes off every time the best player on the pitch does something wrong. I bet you got a headache after 10 minutes because when you actually look for the mistakes, they exist.
Sorry, one more point.
Sorry, go on, bro.
Today, we desperately it showed we need a center forward always on the pitch. Like there was a lot of balls that
comes to the super chat. Before I go to Steve and Sia, this super chat from Darius says strange decisions from the manager today. McTominay ahead of a real striker, Palestri at right back. Still concerns over decision making. I'll say this, Darius.
Shop window.
We want to win. There's shop window element, absolutely. We wanted to win, but there is also an element here of fitness. There's no way Mainu and these guys are being brought off the pitch after 50, 60 minutes. On Friday, excuse me. I don't think Xerxes ready yet. So I'm going to defend the manager here. If he brings on Xerxes, I know he's on the bench, but so if he's on the bench, he's fit enough to play. It's not always the case. Sometimes you just want a player involved in match day around the players, building camaraderie at this stage. It's essentially a friendly still. If he brings him on for 20 minutes and he pulls a muscle, the same people would say his decision-making is bad because he's brought him on too soon. I don't want Xerxes rushed into the team if he isn't ready yet, personally. I was personally gutted to not see him play because I wanted to. I didn't realize until today. I don't know why, because he's one of those weird people who's 6'4", but he looks short. In all these photos, he looks about 5'10". At best. Turns out he's a 6'4". He's as big as Haaland. I didn't realize this. So I'm looking forward to it. But Strasbourg Steve, what are you saying, bro?
Yeah, I'll chip it. I'll what's it called? Y'all were talking I'll talk on the Man City side of things.
Yeah, please.
To be honest, like with Man City, I thought Oscar Bobb pretty damn good first half. Like some of the stuff he does with the ball and the angles and like the way he can just turn on a freaking dime. It looks cartoonish at times. So I thought he had a pretty decent game. Did fade. It didn't look like they missed Rodri in there. I thought the youngsters did a very admirable job. They had that chance. I think McAtee had that chance early. What I would also say is I'm surprised that they didn't capitalize when you guys were under siege for about, I think it was what, 20 minutes in the first half to about 30, somewhere around that range. And you were under siege. You were under siege because you were trying to play out from the back. The City press was more. I'm surprised that they didn't really score off that. So, but overall, like, yeah, I think United fans should be a bit encouraged about overall like the performance today, but the finishing, and I think that's kind of the biggest problem about Man United, or one of them, is the finishing. Like, how are you gonna? You guys haven't hit 60 goals. You've done it once in the past like 7 seasons or something, and days like today are kind of why. So
no doubt,
not a bad game. It was a good game.
No doubt, the goals have got to come. I completely concur with that, and that's why there is pressure this year on Rasmus, and there is pressure this year on Xerxes, especially if we play this well or better, because
you should have won today. To be honest,
yeah, we should have done. Because Ahmad should have done better with that ball to Mount. He just overhit the pass. Mount did all the right things. He overhit the pass. Rashford should have scored.
He could have shot. Ahmad could have shot.
He could have shot or squared it. Either one, we should have scored there. Rashford should have scored one of his 2 chances. But we haven't even actually discussed it yet. But Garnacho's goal was brilliant.
Yeah, it was. I remember we got Scott as well. Rashford headed it down, and Scott just flipping.
The worst part is sometimes you think like, oh, he maybe didn't see it. Oh, he was
watching,
locked in.
And I have something for Man United fans, and I want to. Do you guys have this feeling that Amad Diallo is a 22 years old, play like an 18 years old?
No, not really. What do you mean by that?
Decision making, the way he plays, he looks like a youngster, like a 22 years old.
Yes,
but I get it because he hasn't played in the top level yet.
But you've made a great point. You can be 18, 19, 20 years old and experienced. At 21 years of age, look how experienced Trent Alexander-Arnold was. Look how experienced Wayne Rooney was.
Saka.
The problem is with Saka. Ahmad is part of a long list of players, and thankfully he wasn't burnt out by the club. Who was talented. We haven't bought bums in the last 11 years consistently. We've bought players and then just not known what to do with them, not had the right system for them, play them out of position. And that was, I mean, listen, people would go, it cost 38 million. No, he didn't. He cost 18 million. There's 20 million of add-ons that I think we're almost at a point now where they're going to be circumvented in about 12 months. We don't achieve certain outcomes. It was an 18 million pound signing we were all excited about. And essentially for 3 years, we didn't see the fucker kick a ball. We didn't see him kick a ball. And Rangers. That's what he went to Rangers and he's played at the Championship. Of course, his decision making at the highest level of the game isn't going to be fine tuned yet because you need game time to do that. So I get where it's like this. I don't know what it's like in America, but in the UK, when you pass your driving test, that's when you learn to drive. Yes, you learn to drive after, because it's driving on the real streets when you actually learn how to anticipate and how to drive properly. And that's where he is right now.
We got to go to like driving school.
But you know, do you guys know why I raised this point, right? Because it looks like in the season you're gonna have Amad Diallo, Garnacho, and Anthony. Is that a good right side midfield? We saw Garnacho today look okay, right? But we know that Garnacho sometimes with Rashford fitness and stuff, he plays on the left. Is that good enough to give Eric Ten Hag a chance even to work? Because Amad Diallo is still, as Terry said, championship. He was loaned out. He doesn't have enough experience. Anthony hasn't been great.
But it is. It's about the system. And I put it to the system. So, again, I know they didn't have all their best players out there today, but I say this City team beat, at Wembley especially, big pitch, beats 90% of the Premier League if they play them. They're still Man City. They're still a brilliant team. These young players they brought in are great. They're not bums, they're not scrubs. And Ahmad looked good. Our system looked better. If we can continue to play this way, we don't bottle it and suddenly go back to what we were doing last year. These youngsters, like Garnacho came in today and he looked more mature. He looked older. Again, maybe I'm wrong here. If I'm wrong, please shoot me down.
No, Terry, you're right. Garnacho off the bench, and I think that's where he's best at. Like for right now, where he's at, because we've seen him struggle in full 90s, like a lot of last season. Off the bench, though, I think he plays off the bench like he's trying to prove a point. I think that's what it is.
No, I get that. Sia, as a Liverpool fan watching today, what are you here to say, brother?
I can't believe I'm about to say something positive about United, but for a lot of that first half, for me, a lot of it was promising. I think a lot of the teething problems with playing out from the back are because Evans and Maguire were trash. And with De Ligt and Euro, I think you guys have two of the best young centre-backs. Okay, maybe De Ligt is not young, but in your case, yeah. And then with also Bazraoui coming in as the right back, I think you guys are building a very good squad. Signings have been pretty smart, which is crazy to say about Man United of all teams. And then as soon as you guys sort out the DM, I believe you guys are going to be very good this season, to be honest.
Sia, do you know what's interesting? If everyone doesn't know, Sia is one of our legends. Sia is one of our legends and super fans. He's in our group chat. And do you know what? I appreciate that because we have a great laugh in the group chats and there's always a lot of banter in there. And I see it too. There is seeds of hope. However, it's about not getting carried away. So, Man United fans, please don't think, we're going to slap Fulham up 5-0. Don't get stupid.
Nope.
Stay relaxed. Stay calm. I use my dad's favorite expression. Keep your powder dry at this point. We don't need to do what Don has done to Chelsea. Well, if everyone's fit, I think we can challenge for the Prem. There's no need to say things like that. Just I say this to KJ a lot, and I always say I'm never going to say this on the stream, but I'm going to say it today. I sometimes get messages from Man United fans. You got to back us more, Tell. No, let other people do the talking. If rivals want to write us off and slag us off, just leave it out there, and hopefully we prove them wrong. Or sometimes we give it the big and too much. Just let people talk. 9 times out of 10, they're wrong. So let them talk, and then you got to leave it. You got to let it. This is the thing. I know how to cook, and I know I'm a very pasty Englishman, but I know how to marinate. All right? I know how to season. And sometimes you got to have patience in this. Sometimes you've got to take your time. And there's too many people that I want to get it done quickly. Well, that's how you fail to season and you overcook, your chicken or your steak on too high degrees, and it loses all its flavor and juices. So learn how to banter properly and not always react off the bat. Learn, my children. Learn, my people.
Stop raw dog.
Yeah, stop raw dogging. Do you know what? I could never raw dog. No, that's the thing on an airplane. No. See, you've got a dirty mind, young man. You've got a dirty mind there.
I'm not even doing it.
The lovely Sophia's here with us. What did you make of today? Sitting there in your green bucket hat, by the way, very, very nice. What did you make of today, young lady?
You know what? I felt like the first 20 minutes I was a bit concerned, but we grew more and more into it. The end of those 20 minutes in the first half, and I did see some positives for sure. I'm not even angry. I'm not frustrated. I'm like, let's just keep building on that. Of course, for me, the most.
It will be Friday though.
Huh?
You will be Friday though. All right.
They could be because Fulham will present a different challenge because Fulham don't play like Man City.
I mean, yeah. But
It's a joke, Sophia. It's a joke.
okay. Of course. I know Mo agenda. I know. Either way, I feel like with the getting new players in is very much needed. With of course the Ligt Mazza. Hopefully, we can get 2 midfielders as well, because that defense is looking very thin. It's scary. It's scary. And when Ten Hag had Pelestri playing as a right back, you could see that it's an issue. Let's just say that.
Why didn't he take a penalty? That's the only thing I'm upset about. Why didn't he take it? But why is you have a winger on there, a dude who has to be better striking the ball than
that's normally on the winger though. Like this is the thing. This is the one thing I say. We always have a go at penalty takers that miss, but the ones the further down the list you go, that means the later they volunteered. So
Yeah.
I blame Pelestri for that. Do you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I said, let me take it.
I probably
Why
understand.
didn't Onana take one? That's what I didn't understand, actually.
Yeah, true.
Because
Before Johnny Evans, that was one of the worst penalties I've seen. But
Here's the thing with Johnny Evans.
Evans probably was thinking, you know what? We got young guys coming on next. Like you got Collier there, you've got you got Pelestri coming on. Like, let me take the pressure off them and let me handle it. No, bruv, you're also part of the vulnerable people's category, my brother. That's where you sit right now. You shouldn't be touching it. It should be Onana. It should be anyone else who was able to
I want to say one thing because you're getting killed for the Ahmad slander, but I actually agree with some of what you're saying, but I think it's a bit different. So
I didn't even slander the guy.
I know, but everybody's I know, but I think one thing that was clear that I saw on that misconnection with him and Mount was we also have to remember these players haven't played together very often. So as much as it does look like, you know, he may be making the wrong decisions sometimes or whatnot, I think there's something to be said about chemistry and not always knowing where a man's going to be and I think we're going to see a lot of that this year. I think that's something we have to be prepared for where it comes to just missed chances. Like the Scott one's unforgivable. That makes no sense. But like the Mount one, that's timing. That's him probably not knowing Ahmad's not going to shoot there, in my opinion. He made the run just a bit later. So I think as we start seeing a bit more, like Garnacho made the pass that we've always been upset with Garnacho about not passing the ball. It's kind of been his biggest thing. Like he shoots first, made the perfect pass to Rashford, should have scored. But then that second run, he was like, this is where I do love Garnacho. Is he's like, I'm just going to take this on myself. Like we need a goal. But
that's what was great about it. Sorry to interject. Is that it's the variation today. Yeah. So I feel like with Garnacho, too much in the last 2 seasons. It's I'm going to keep trying to score. And the first 2 or 3 times he cut in, he then found the pass. On the third time, he took the shot. And this is where listen, Ten Hag's the manager, so he's overseeing it, or the head coach. But this is where I think the likes of Rude are getting involved. It's teaching them how to vary that up so that you're less predictable. The problem is with Man United, and I'm sure there's Newcastle, Inter, and Liverpool fans here, we are predictable. In football, in fairness, that could have just been describing Steve. Steve. He supports 1,000 teams, but we have been so predictable, and we need to have that variation. On players coming on, though, I'm not trying to shit on him, but Collier came onto the football pitch, okay, at exactly the same time as Scott McTominay. 93% pass completion from Collier from when he came on. Scott McTominay in the same time, 67%.
Oh, you gotta go.
And this is the thing. Scott, and this is what's crazy. Scott could have scored the winner theoretically if he'd have got onto that ball. Everyone gone, McTominay. Collier came on, and Scott can't do in the middle on the ball what Collier can already do. And Collier is raw, and there's so much more to be developed. And that's why, for me, he's got to go. You bring Ugarte in. If we can't sign, we're not getting Zubimendi now, but if we can't get a De Jong or a Fana, even Sanderberg, I like Sanderberg. I say promote this youngster if we can't find an adequate midfielder, because I think he'll just do a better job in terms of.
You've seen it with City. I don't think City are gonna go out there and spend all this money on necessarily like this match striker or midfielder or something. They're gonna trust their young players. McAtee, Oscar Bobb, and O'Reilly today all looked usable, serviceable, especially Oscar Bobb. Oscar Bobb.
He's brilliant.
Oscar Bobb, I'm going to make you a claim. If Oscar Bobb gets proper game time, He'll get more goals and assists this season than Jack Grealish.
Oh no, 100%. That's not even that case.
yes.
That's
Yes.
clear. That's clear to see. So
Yes.
if Man City are in a place where you know what, we're going to entrust time and minutes to our younger players who've got talent, then maybe we should be like, you know what, we've got the talent as well. Because we got to remember, Man United's academy is famed for having people come through. In that team alone, you already got Scott, you already got Rashford, you already got Mainu. So it's not like we're not used to it. Let the guy have his time. You know what I mean? Like I'm a big fan. I like him. I like Oyedele. We've got young players in
What
this
about
team.
Amas as well?
Amas, who's at left back, who people were calling to get some game time today. Which again, Amas on the bench. Why not play him and keep the right back instead of Pelestri, who undoubtedly...
Yeah, no, I do agree. But what I would say is the one issue that I saw with Amas during pre-season, he got caught out of position a few times. You play him in this game and he gets caught like Pelestri did, and you damage his confidence now, you could hurt his development. It might be more sensible to go, do you know what? You know, we get a home draw against Southend in the League Cup. That's where we start. You've got to remember, not everyone can do what Mainu did. And like one of his first starts away against Liverpool. Yeah. Or Oscar Bobb. But, you know, you have to, not everybody's at that level straight away. So I think you've got to play it calmly in relation to that. Sunshine here says, yeah, Evan was so bad. His penalty was. But what I will say about Johnny Evans, he did pocket Haaland today. Like, so we have to, like, because that's the one thing that...
Question.
I thought Evans had a pretty damn good game. Like,
defensively, yeah.
Not on the ball, it's whatever. But like as a defender, I think we forget center backs are supposed to defend.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I thought he did a very admirable job. I thought he did.
Question: is Haaland cursed in the semi-finals and finals? What happened?
No Wembley goals.
Yes.
No Wembley goals yet for him.
Like,
and the thing is, if you said on paper, Haaland today is going to be up against Johnny Evans and Maguire, you would expect it. I mean, he didn't get a chance to and those are the little things. Like, we haven't played City once since Haaland's been there and not afforded him 3 or 4 clear-cut chances. Maybe the FA Cup final where he had 1 or 2. But normally that man has 4 or 5 absolute tap-ins or easy one-on-ones, and we handled him well today. So those things look good.
I kind of forgot he was playing.
Sorry.
No, I start to interrupt. I literally, and I'm a big fan of Haaland for years, but I really forgot he was playing.
I
agree.
Yeah, I think, listen, he's won a treble. He's one of the best strikers in the world. He's broken records. But in finals and semi-finals, is that something to look at where maybe he isn't the guy in that scenario? Maybe maybe people focus on him maybe people focus on him so much that it allows other people in the team, like Oscar Bobb, to
I agree. I think it's one of those things. Look, he's so young still. He's probably going to score in them in his career. But it's one of those things where if he retires and never delivers in a final or a semi, yeah, I think he might have played well in some semi-finals before, to be fair. If he never delivers in a final, it's not going to stop him being a world-class player. It's not going to stop him being a legend. But it's when you're comparing the legends versus legends, that's where it becomes. That's where you start to nitpick. I think Haaland is going to have and already has had the most amazing career. I'm not slagging him off at all. But I think we're kind of looking at the nitpick again now when it comes to separating the greats from one another. Of course, your performances in finals, at sort of famous stadiums, etc., all of that plays a fundamental part. This here from Jake says, if you can't cook Cajun, you can't cook Terry. Listen, I can cook, bruv. KJ too. I was cooking for everybody in the house when we were over in Germany.
Yeah, I almost died. That's why I was ill.
Of course. I always remember, a few of them were eating it and they were like, oh, it's actually all right. I was like, of course it's all right. I know what I'm doing. Like, I'm 38 years old. Terry, how can the Bayern duo help the team?
The Ligt Mazza.
Yeah. I want to ask Steve, how do you think they'll help us, Steve?
Well, first off, from a Bayern thing, I'll switch identities from a Bayern fan perspective. I'm pissed that we're letting go of the Ligt. Mazraoui, I'd rather keep him around because he can do a decent job at left back. I already have Sacha Bowie. Kimmich, for me, is the starting right back. But So Mazraoui, it's like, all right, got him on a free, got about 15, 20, whatever the fee is. Like, okay, like sucks, but whatever. De Ligt, though, I'm annoyed because we're looking to get Jonathan Tah. Tah's best in the back three. Last season clearly showed it. We're playing him in the fourth. I didn't want to let go of De Ligt.
Why do people call him crap? Like I've seen many people in the comments just be like, "Yeah, De Ligt's a mid-level signing. He's a mid-table player, wash player." Why do people say that? If you are a Bayern fan and saying, "Actually, no, we want to keep him,"
it's because this guy's always moving the wrong.
The fact that he left you.
Yeah, go on.
I think it's because people took the expectations that he had from Ajax, and then he left Juventus of his own volition, by the way. And now that he's leaving Bayern, they're taking that as a confirmation that he's shit. Whereas he's really not. De Ligt is a very good defender.
Yes. Nah, and you know what it is with De Ligt as well? It's like Tuchel messed up everybody on that Bayern team, nearly everybody. Nobody really thrived. So that's the other thing too. But yeah, like the Dutch Maguire thing. You know why? Sorry, I was just gonna say why do people say that? Because comps exist, bro. Of
course, and even this, I was someone that sort of bought into that today. That Eric Dyer went there and was starting all these games over, and then somebody put out the facts, and it was literally a case of there was like 2 or 3 games, and I think maybe it was 4 games, and 3 of those games he was suspended and or injured in when Dyer started over him, but that's what agendas do. And look, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. What both of them will bring to Man United, the same with all 4 of our signings so far, is they are all technically proficient on the ball. Cheers, Cam. Thank you, brother. They're all technically proficient on the ball. So what that means is that when we have days like today where you maybe have to play, you have to go down the pecking order in terms of your centre backs, you can continue playing out from the back. I loved AWB's one-on-one defending, but when he came into the team over Delo, we knew we were going to suffer in terms of an attacking side of things. That isn't going to happen as much anymore. And although you'll lose some of the defensive elements with Mazraoui, it's about creating an identity as a team that isn't changing too often. And that, for me, is far more important when it comes to developing a squad. This here says, by the way, Iwobi and Smith Rowe, another goal today, warming up for United. Well, yeah, we'll see. We'll see, Tommy, my old mate. Feels like some United fans are getting too carried away, still playing in fits and spurts. Oh, listen, some will. And listen, I just tweeted a minute ago, like any Man United fans trying to start an Ahmad versus Garnacho war. I just tweeted saying that. I said, go suck your mum. Like United fans have got to keep their feet on the ground. Don't keep starting wars. Stop gloating and just sort of sit in the shadows and wait.
Attacking our own players, man. Like
that doesn't make sense.
Era, it's a new dawn. Man saw Rasmus get hate for getting treatment on his face. People after Rashford, people after Sancho. Just stop, man. Like we already have enough
get out of here.
Ew.
Well, didn't I say to you, KJ, though, like I hadn't seen any of that, and I read a few of the messages you sent me, and I was like, I guarantee it's people that will be like, well, Pogba got crap for doing cosmetic things. Straight away, you sent me screenshots. Most of the people slagging off Rasmus replied to their stuff with, but Pogba. And yeah, Pogba shouldn't have got abuse. But tell me where Rasmus Højlund was giving Pogba abuse. It doesn't make sense. You're attacking people.
Should be getting it.
It's crazy. And again, these Pogba fanboys, I'm not having got Pogba here. If you went in front of Pogba, when Pogba, guess what I did today? I started slagging off this player because some of the people that like him used to slag you off. Pogba's going to call you a dickhead. Pogba's going to call you a dickhead. This is the thing. The man you love would say, get out of here. You move. Oscar Bobb, better than Jack Grealish. He does what Jack does and gets GA. I am not defending him anymore. Lang and Sweet, I'm glad Luke Chadwick out. We're
finally.
No, I'm joking, my bad. Listen, I want to thank everybody that has tuned into the show today. I want to thank all of my beautiful, wonderful panel. Obviously, from next week, we're going to be back. All the match reactions. I'm very, very excited. This show is going to take you through to Mo's channel. So go over there and watch it. Go and subscribe. Go and support it, people. Hit the like button before you leave. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again soon. Peace.